This video is going to deal with my journey from Christian to agnostic to atheist. And really the distinction between agnostic and atheist is really kind of arbitrary, but I'll get to that. So it's almost as if Shandi is here to give me emotional support. So I was born into a Christian household. My parents divorced when I was quite young, actually. I'm going to back up a bit so you can see me a little more. My mother was and is extremely religious. She is very much an evangelical Christian, and she how to put it, that is the worldview she taught me. My father, I really am not sure what he really believes or believed, because we haven't spoken in many years, and that's a topic for a different video, and that's probably a topic I won't ever make a video on unless that's a difficult topic to deal with, so let's put that aside for this video. The bottom line is I was, at least on one side of my family, I was taught this creationist, fundamentalist Christian mindset. Most of my years in the years leading up to college, I was in public school, but I did do some time in religious schools when I was with my mother. Even at a young age, there were some things about the religion I was indoctrinated into. There, I said it, indoctrinated into. There were things about it that just didn't make sense to me. Just to make one example, and one that young Earth creationists just love, and that is Noah's Ark. Now, the story, according to what I was told, was that man had become so wicked that God had to kill everyone except for a man and his family. But God was merciful in that he allowed a pair of every living animal to enter onto this gigantic boat that apparently Noah built by himself or with the help of his family members or whatever. I know I'm being sarcastic and mocking, but it's just bear with me. What always angered me was I thought, what did the animals do wrong? Why did God have to kill every why did God have to kill all of these other animals just because, his supposed, treasured species or whatever was misbehaving? Why did they have to suffer like that? They didn't deserve to drown. So that was kind of one thing that really, at a young age, it really stuck with me. And the older I grew and the more I learned, I just the whole concept of the God that I was told about, it it made less and less sense. It made less sense um, in that the more I tried to please God and to be a good Christian, the more I suffered for it. Um, at a certain point, I was it was an interesting mindset I was in. I was a Christian, yet a Christian who disagreed with God. So that probably doesn't make any sense to many of you, but I accepted the existence of God and all of that. I just thought he was an asshole. Um, when I got to college, and even before then, man, I kind of started to learn about science. And science is anathema to most very Christian people. Um, that is not to say there are not scientific-minded Christians. I know of one in particular, and Glenn, if you're watching, I'm talking about you. I do respect you. I'm getting off topic, I get. Not really off topic, but really, the process of becoming an atheist, it's not like one day, boom, I'm an atheist. It's a gradual process of just kind of thinking about things and realizing that something's not right here. So I went from being a pious Christian to a Christian who disagreed with God to an agnostic. And I did not, I went by the assumption that, well, maybe there is a God, maybe there isn't. Maybe one of the religions is correct, maybe one isn't. I mean, and I still go by that to this day. Christianity, or maybe one of the many sects of Christianity, might be correct. You might be. I just find it highly unlikely, and given scientific evidence, to me, the only way to deny things like the age of the earth and evolution and things like that is to basically say that God was deliberately trying to deceive us. And the God I was taught was not a deceiver, that was Satan. Satan is the deceiver, not God. And I honestly do not see how it makes no sense that God would, put these dinosaur fossils in there and set things up in such a way where it was so clearly demonstrated that the Earth was not this many years old and that species evolved. So if you don't believe in evolution, then you have to believe in God as a deceiver. And that's not a God I would ever choose to believe in. And that's part of how I became an atheist. Again, I have been an agnostic for most of my life, and to be honest, agnostics are basically atheists, because we doubt the existence of God. And a person who says he or she is an atheist is not saying he or she knows there is no God. It's a statement of belief. So, in terms of belief, well, sorry, in terms of what I know, I don't know if there is or isn't a God. Could be, could not be. I seriously doubt it. If he exists, he's really not the kind of being I would feel worthy of worship, given how messed up this world of ours is. So in terms of knowledge, I am agnostic, but in terms of belief, I am an atheist. And that's something that a lot of people don't really understand, is the difference between belief and knowledge. And to be honest, no knowledge actually exists. We don't know anything. For all I know right now, I believe I am standing in front of a webcam telling you why I'm an atheist. But I could also be in like a Matrix scenario where I'm in some suspended form of sleep or whatever, or I could be in a coma or whatever. I don't know that. So in essence, we don't really know anything. But at the same time, if we're going to go by the assumption that this reality that we are living in is reality, then I've got to go on the side of science, because it is something that is verifiable, testable, predictable, and you can make predictions. I said predictable, but you can make predictions. The problem with a lot of creationists is they create these absurd scenarios. Like they say, oh, we won't believe evolution unless we see something like the popular thing online is a crocoduck, a half crocodile and half duck. Don't think you're making a valid point when you do that. Us atheists, we just kind of just go like, oh no. Are you really that stupid? Are you really thinking on that basic of a level? So one creationist argument is, well, if birds evolved from dinosaurs and lizards and all that, shouldn't we find something that is not quite a bird, not quite a reptile? And for many years, that was not the case. But as science predicted, we did find a fossil that was somewhere in between. Did that disprove the creationists? Oh no. Because nothing is going to disprove the creationists. It does not matter how much evidence. It does not matter at all. And it was said this way when Ken Ham debated Bill Nye. The question was put, what, if anything, would change your mind? And Bill Nye gave, in my opinion, the correct answer. And he said, give us the evidence. Present us with the proper evidence and I'll believe you. And that is the question that is the thing I put to creationists. I'm like, find proof. Prove me wrong. I welcome it. It would be amazing if you could disprove all of this. But unfortunately, you can't. And Ken Ham's response, I'm a Christian. I can't prove it, but I know it. Sorry, but I don't find that very convincing. I don't take the words of one single man. And bear in mind, this is just one guy. This is just one kind of little sliver of Protestant Christianity. I've got a relative that once described Ken Ham's point of view as the Christian perspective. No, that's not the Christian perspective. That's the perspective of one sliver of Protestant Christianity. That is not indicative of all Christians, and I know you might argue, well, all those other Christians are wrong. Well, okay, maybe you're right, but I seriously doubt it, okay? So, I want to round out this video. So, as I said, I identified as agnostic for most of my life, basically. Went overseas to Japan. I found a home there, and the thing that is cool about Japan is that it is kind of an atheistic society, and that they don't really kind of believe in religion, but they still do have some form of reverence for it. You still do go to the temples and you go to the shrines and you go through the motions. You know, you might not believe in the gods or you might not believe in the Buddhas, but it is still a part of your identity. I think that is kind of the attitude we need to take towards Christianity. Let's take the good parts from it, but I mean, Christianity has brought some good things to the world, and there are some amazing Christian virtues. Unfortunately, in my opinion, most Christians don't live by them, but they are still good virtues, such as altruism, helping the poor, healing the sick. By healing the sick, I mean providing them health care. And just kind of not judging. And I mean, Jesus hung out with the most destitute people in his society. He hung out with tax collectors. He hung out with lepers. He hung out with hookers. Do you really think Jesus, as he is depicted, would approve of the bigotry and hatred and judgment that is so common among, unfortunately, I'm starting to say, most Protestant Americans? No. Bottom line, he would not. I get off topic again, but I'm going to finish off this video with a simple story. So I did return to America from Japan. And some stuff happened. I won't go into that. See a previous video for that. So I ended up out here in Denver, Colorado. A close family member got convinced by the televangelist Jim Bakker. Yes, Jim Bakker. Some of you might not realize who that is. Jim Bakker is a televangelist that actually did go to prison for fraud. He did go to prison, he got out, he's back on TV again and back up to his old tricks. I'm not going to show it to you. I can in a future video if any of you think I'm bullshitting you. But I have several tons of survival gear for the supposed coming apocalypse that Mr. Bakker told to this family member of mine. And I'm sorry to say I actually tried this stuff out because I work a minimum wage job while I go through veterinary technician school, and I was at a point that I was willing to eat anything. The stuff that was shipped to me was barely edible. I should mention the pretense upon which this was shipped to me was on the basis of this. I should probably link I'll put a link into this, but on this whole concept of blood moons. Um, I won't even go into it because it's so ridiculous. But yeah, I have several tons of this stuff piled up in my apartment. I know I should throw it out, but I don't know why I don't. I guess it's out of respect and it's out of trying my hardest to be respectful to this family member. But after that point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to hide it anymore. I mean, I was always an atheist. I just wasn't, because the term atheist is it's such a it's such a stigmatizing term. Agnostic sounded a little lighter. But after that point, I said, I'm not going to screw around about this anymore. I'm an atheist. And I don't know if there is or isn't a God, but I'm reasonably sure that the God, at least as I was told him to be, does not exist. So, that's it.